Hello, all bettors and bettees. Welcome back to another episode of the Fades and Parlays podcast. I am your host, Mr. Wright, joined by my co-host, Mr. Sanders. Mr. Sanders, say hello to the people.
Hello, Mr. Sanders, to the people.
Thank you for joining us once again. If you didn't know, last weekend we went 4-0 on our bets, and that put us at 7-2 for the season. We currently have a whole bunch of games going this weekend in our week 3 of the preseason. But before we get into those picks and what we got going on today, which is an awful loaded schedule, Mr. Sanders kind of went a little wild this weekend and took a little extras in our final preseason week. But you wanted to give a little rundown on parlay bets and how we feel about those and how you go about those and what those are.
Yeah, so I've had a couple of people coming to me, and which they're legitimate questions. You know, sometimes I don't think to myself, some people don't know. So they missed the extra point. I think they missed the extra point. So we got our parlay that we have our 4-game parlay.
You want me to go over that right now?
Yeah,
Mr. Sanders?
Yeah, for our picks.
Yeah, our 4-game parlay we have going right now is Jacksonville, San Francisco, Houston, and Denver, all money line picks. Right. So you want to discuss what we got going on there, Mr. Sanders?
Right. So money line basically means all we need is the win. There is no spread. All we need is a win. Whether they win,
right.
If they win, we hit. If they lose, well, we lose.
Right.
A parlay is multiple teams, whether it's 2 or 5,000. It doesn't really matter. Right. You can do as much as you want. So we ended up going 4 games. As you said, Niners, Houston, Jacksonville, and Denver. We hit Jacksonville last night. And this is actually a perfect example after what happened to the Niners game, which that just made me crazy. But what'll end up happening is you just basically get paid for your 4 games. God, they're just not doing anything.
The Niners tied.
Yeah, I got 3 games right now. I'm watching Green Bay at Baltimore, Baltimore at Green Bay, Pittsburgh at Detroit, and just Detroit's doing nothing. And then we got the Rams at Houston Texans, because this is how I roll. So we're not looking too good in that game right now. Anywho, the way that it works is you have your 4 teams, as such as the situation that we have, and it will pay you at a certain amount. From the way that I laid the bets, it ends up basically paying us 5-1. Now, I keep my parlays small. I only put down $2, and it came out to $10.34. So basically, it's paying me 5-1. Now, I haven't gone back because in this situation, we have San Francisco, who tied the Raiders last night, which unbelievable that game.
Yes.
What happens with that, for most places, from my personal experience, they count that as a push because they didn't win, but they also didn't lose. Because of it, now they'll take that parlay as if it's a 3-game parlay instead of a 4, and they will pay it out that way. So in reality, we covered, so to speak, with the Frisco game. We definitely hit the Jacksonville game, which we also took at -5. And we'll find out as far as Houston goes and how Denver goes. So, which Houston and game is playing right now. And right now, that game is 10-9. Houston is up by 1. And this is what happens when we do podcasts and how I watch it, because this is the frustrating part. So now it's about to be 20-7 Green Bay. This is a joke. So
people are getting the inside look into the happy heart attack.
Yeah, I
that Mr. Sanders puts himself through.
Yeah, I'm on the podcast. It makes it a little different because normally my daughter allows me to throw her stuffed animals around. So usually that's the situation, but we need to act like an adult on this show for now.
100%.
That is how the parlays work. We're losing what we're doing, and that's basically the way it goes to payout. We also have our 6-game teaser. We had Philly, Houston, Jags, Bucks, Detroit, Jets. We bought points. You can do teasers all kinds of crazy ways. They have 6 point, 7 point, 8 point, 10 point, 13 point teasers. I am not a huge fan of teasers. I just did it for fun, to throw something out there for something for people to check out. The spreads to where they're drastically different. It's like when I got it, I think the Jags were like at -7. I got them at +3 because I took a 10-point swing. Jets, all these teams, I get a 10-point swing. The payout isn't as crazy. I think this payout was like 3-1, 2-1. Not the biggest fan, but it's just something for other people to take a part of. I realize that we are called fades and parlays.
Right.
I'm not a big parlay person. I am very, very, very in depth to the games itself. I don't do
the
over-unders.
individual game.
Yeah,
You don't do
I'm about the
over-unders.
chess game itself, not anything else that goes to it. That's why I take it. Aaron would say maybe 2-3 times a year, I'll take my picks and lay a parlay. But if I have 5 games, I might take 3 out of fun. But again, it's for a couple dollars. I put my money in the games itself, not for the parlays. And if you ever have questions for people that are watching this, I will do everything I can to make sure to respond, because I'm very much, when people come to me to bet, I very much explain to them there are no stupid questions, because if you don't know, you don't know. And that's okay. Whatever I can do to help out the situation, there's nothing wrong with that. You're learning, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Right. Well, and the good thing about this podcast, for those of you who want to gamble a little bit on NFL but don't necessarily know all the terms and all the ways, Mr. Sanders is taking a thinking out of it for you, and you really can just listen to our picks and copy and paste.
Yeah, I guess so, right?
Essentially, right? But just to clarify, for those of you who are paying attention, we did take an over-under bet for the season on the Jets, correct?
We did.
Now, you're talking about you don't do over-unders when it comes to points.
Yeah,
a certain number of points on the game. We're not messing with. We're not concerned, because then you're sitting there saying, "Oh, I need you to score," right? Versus taking every individual game on an individual basis.
Correct. Yeah, very much so. So yeah, people love taking the points. The last over-under I personally took was a Monday night game. God, what was that, about 4 years ago? It was a Monday night game. It was Kansas City versus the Rams. And actually, that game was supposed to be in Mexico. But if memory serves me, I believe some huge famous singer, they ended up tearing up the field. So they ended up playing it in the LA Coliseum. At that point, I think the over-under was like 56, 58, which is just absurd. I ended up taking the game itself,
those two teams,
but I took the over-under on points. At halftime, I was like 4 points shy. I mean, it was an absolute slugfest. I think it was like the 3rd highest scoring game ever. So it was, in the hook shot. I appreciate it. But I think when kickoff happened, it was in the low 60s. We're going back a couple of years, but I'm pretty sure about that. But I remember that game it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. If memory serves me correct, too, I believe that year was the championship game where dude had a bat, a knife, and a rope, and absolutely just clobbered the Saints receiver about 8 yards before the ball got there. And I do mean clobbered. And they didn't throw a penalty flag. And that Super Bowl should have been Patriots Saints. I believe that was that year, if memory serves me correctly. It would have been Breeze and Brady, which we probably would have took Breeze. But that's just time for another story. But yes, we just don't do it. I personally don't. It isn't hurry up, score. Oh my God, I need this. Oh my God, I need that. Yeah, no, I'd rather stress over please get in field goal range and kick this mofo compared to, are you kidding me? There's 3 minutes left and I need 11 points right now. No, I prefer just to keep it within the simplicity of the game itself than everything that comes with it in a whole, if that really kind of makes sense. It's just not my thing. It's where we do strictly spreads on here.
Right. Well, and talking about spreads, I mean, sounds like a good,
There we
good.
go. Yes. Touchdown, Baltimore. Sweet.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. So sounds like a perfect parlay into our picks for the week. So we took quite a few. Like I was saying, Mr. Sanders kind of went a little buck wild for the week 3 preseason.
Oh, that's why they play defense. Because that tight end just dropped a first down for Detroit. You're
There you
killing
go.
me.
All right. Well, we're interested in that game because that's one of our games for this week. We do have Baltimore at +4. Okay. We also took Jacksonville at -5.
Oh, no.
We took Detroit, Mr. Sanders, at +9.
At +9.
Yep. We took Houston to win outright with the money line.
We did.
We took Denver also to win outright with the money line.
Correct.
And we took the Jets to go at +4.
At +4, yes.
Absolutely. So folks, if you want to pick up a couple extra pieces of change on this Saturday, maybe bet with us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And see how things pan out.
Exactly. And that's how kind of we're looking. We already hit the Jacksonville. And that's one thing I need to bring up, because when I was telling people what picks to bring, I was making sure people were aware of the line. Listen, every site is different and every state is different.
Now, when you say site, Mr. Sanders, you're talking about
gambling sites, or if you're walking into a casino, card room, wherever it is that you do your personal business, a bookie, whatever works for you. Bookies can be a little bit more tough, but the line for the Jacksonville, it was staying at 7 a lot. Now, personally, I would have took it at 6, just because of some of the stuff that I know Doug Peterson will do. Mac Jones has just absolutely been lighting it up. I think people just give him way too hard of a time. I knew Trevor Lawrence was going to play. And I knew what Atlanta is second, third, and fourth team-wise. I had no concern. But that line ended up dropping to 6.5. So I wanted to make sure he didn't pull any shenanigans. He's not as bad as Dan Campbell, but and when I got it at 5, and then the line moved to 7, moved right back. We would have taken it 6. But when I give my picks out, it's real important that you're paying attention to your line, because it could move. It could be Caesars. It could be some Indian casino you walk into. It could be your bookie. Whatever it is, make sure you're finding out what your line is. Always get rid of the hook. If he's going to give it to you at 10 points less, take those 10 points, because he's going to be paying you. He's not going to come searching for your money, even though he pretty much already has it. That's how you got to go about it. Always pay attention to it. The Houston line, knowing we took it money line, that thing jumped from -160 to all the way up to 210, down to 200, then at 170. And I was watching that thing fluctuate at the money line. I didn't want to take it -2. It's like, you know what? I don't mind putting down a few extra bucks to win a few extra bucks for the money line, just because we're at the preseason, which I'll be doing mostly that way. But, some people are about greed, and I want to make myself very, 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 very clear to people. I'm not. I don't bet with greed. It is a marathon. It is not a sprint. And if you are in gambling for greed, all truth be told, you're your own person, but you enjoy the outcome from that. I pace myself. I make sure I do it for others. This is the message that I send. I'm not in this to ruin my life. I'm in it to make one. And it's very, very important that people understand that it isn't greed for me. I have no problem laying money line -210 at $210 to win my 100. Yeah, it's a little expensive, but it's better than me taking it -2 and covering the situation in itself. So it wasn't a touchdown. He didn't catch it, did he? And now he threw a pick. Gotta love McSorley or Sorley. And that's very, 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 very important that people understand. Again, play at your own risk, but we're in it to make money, and it's the long haul. But our percentages pretty much speak for themselves.
100%.
And that's why we have I guess, the track record that we do.
100%. The whole reason why we're doing what we're doing right now.
Word.
And for you ladies and gentlemen out there listening, you're getting some gems today.
Let's go.
Mr. Sanders is feeling very talkative today, and
Yeah,
he's giving some insight
got 3 games
into how
going
he
at once.
what he does, right? Which is going to bring us into a new segment that we are going to experiment with today.
It's time for my 2 cents.
Very nice. So my 2 cents. There's a couple things I wanted to talk about.
A couple more things.
Well, it's a couple quick things. Look at that hooker. Count to the 2. Let's go. Get in there. My first one is, and this has been bothering me since last year, Travis Etienne, the running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I was literally having this conversation just yesterday with somebody talking about how Derrick Henry's this and Saquon Barkley's that. And look, I get it. Okay. But damn, that man is never talked about. If he were to play in New York, if he were to probably even play in LA, anywhere but probably Jacksonville,
Right.
he would be talked about more. This dude is a top 3, top 4 back, and I feel like I'm not doing him justice saying that. And people need to get on board because that man goes unseen. He dominates at what he's doing. He
100%.
is going to make Trevor Lawrence better. Touchdown Denver. Or excuse me, Detroit. Touchdown Detroit.
He's making Trevor Lawrence better since college, Mr. Sanders.
That's right, because when he went to Clemson. And I was talking about it yesterday. I almost took a prop, which every gray blue moon I'll do for a touchdown. I was looking at it last night. That man went 7 carries for 47 yards yesterday. And I get the whole secondary Atlanta, second team, all this and that. But if it wasn't for the turf monster, that would have probably been more around 6 for 80 plus than a touchdown because he broke. And then the rubber tripped him. Something, I don't know what happened there. It seems to be happening a lot this season, preseason. But it's really important for people to recognize this dude. I mean, I'm not big into fantasy football and all that, but this dude could ball. If memory serves me correctly, I think he was like number 2 in all-around yards last year. Might have been number 3. I mean, the dude is a gamer. And people need to check themselves, man, and check this dude out.
Yeah, and last year, if memory serves me correct, he had a whole string of games where he scored a touchdown in every game.
I know for sure that was McCaffrey. That fool, he did a different level. I think that was like 21 games straight, 20 games straight. He was messing with Jerry Rice type shit.
Etienne had some streak like that going as well last year, where he was scoring.
He needs to be talked about, and he really needs to be recognized for what he's doing because he's not some big back. He's not this and that. No. The dude's just got it, at least to this point, and it's he really, really does need to be recognized, and that's my 2 cents as far as he goes. As far as the other stuff, there's a lot of stuff on my mind. We'll get to the Lamar later down the road. Yes, good D. And that's really important to be talked about. The defensive coordinator for the Lions, Aaron Glenn. These are other things we'll get to. And, it's going to bring up the spread situation, which we have already had. So as far as today goes, my 2 cents, Mr. Etienne, I see you.
We see you. Discuss the man more. Give him his flowers.
Word.
I think what may have happened with him as well. I mean, he had a lot of publicity coming out of Clemson, but then he hurt his foot.
Yeah,
before his rookie year.
Yep.
And so he basically had to sit out his whole rookie year, and people kind of forgot about him.
Yeah, I don't know how you forget.
But ever since he's been healthy, he's been a monster. He's been a monster. We're hoping to see your other favorite running back, right, Nick Chubb, come back this season, hopefully off that ACL, and see how he's going to respond off of that. You see that smile? That's a Nick Chubb smile right there.
Oh, look, man, I'm all about the running backs. All about them. Greatest running back I've ever seen.
Let's go.
But Nick Chubb is different, and I really hope so. My 2 cents on that, I personally feel Nick Chubb is the best pure running back in the league. I mean, you don't keep doing what you're doing at a 5-yard clip with not really the best of offense, the best of freaking quarterbacks, and knowing that they're putting 42 people in the box, and dude is still just move, get out the way. And that's super, super important. How that dude doesn't get more recognition, I really hope he comes back. He's so vital for them. Dude is different.
100%.
Love me some Nick Chubb.
Absolutely. And when it comes to our picks, ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind all of you that during this preseason, you've been getting blessed with these gems that I call our picks, these gems. You've been getting blessed with these before our Saturday podcast. Mr. Sanders has been putting quite a good number of shorts out and sharing our picks with you on these shorts. However, come next week, 8 days from now, when the season begins, these picks will only be available on the Saturday podcast. Now, in situations where we're taking a Thursday game, we may give you a special short the Wednesday before the game. If there's any Saturday games that we're taking this season, we'll give you a special short on Friday before the game. So no worries on these off-day games. If we are going to be taking those and are going to be part of our picks, we will get that information to you before the games happen. So if you want to join us and making some money on these games, you'll be able to do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that brings me, because it got me thinking, it's like the Thanksgiving. You got 3 games, Lions, Bears. That ought to be interesting for once.
Right.
But I'm sure we'll do something for those 3 games. I know Christmas is on a Wednesday. So we get Steelers, Chiefs, and I forget who the other one is, which is God, I feel sorry for the Chiefs. They're playing on every day of the week, I think, but Tuesday this year. Especially towards the end, it's crazy. We will make sure it's we'll have your Christmas special. I don't know. Knowing my daughter, I'm gonna probably have to wear a Santa hat just to make her happy. So we'll have them out for that. But yeah, I think the way that you covered it, I 100% agree. It pretty much come down to that, and because I'm a little odd about our Thursday games, So, but yeah. Besides the holidays, it sounds about right to me.
Absolutely, but keep looking for those shorts, though. They're going to keep coming out. We'll be giving you different information. Just not giving you picks anymore. You got to tune in for Saturdays for those.
Got to tune
in most cases, right? And please click and subscribe. We appreciate all of you watching and supporting us.
Word.
Mr. Sanders, what's our Instagram?
Our Instagram is fadesandparlays_podcast.
Please follow. And you can also send Mr. Sanders messages if you want to interact with him.
Yes.
And we'll be checking on those. We appreciate your comments. We appreciate your viewership.
Word.
So for all of you bettors and bettees, happy betting this weekend. Season's coming up. We're very excited. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in once again. For my co-host, Mr. Sanders, I'm Mr. Wright. Peace out. Signing off.